knows me by my name, so it's a good day.
All right. Sorry about the delay. Had to go fix the website. Once again, happy Tuesday evening to you. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right. So listen, hopefully you guys that are over there on YouTube, you can put your comments there. Good evening to you, Jackie G. Everybody else that I greeted earlier, thank you guys for being patient with me. How you doing, Vera? And everybody else that's in here, hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Everybody's important. So, for those of you that haven't, how you doing, Lynn, that haven't registered for the repositioning of your crown, queen, I strongly suggest that you do that. You don't want to miss that. Great conversation. For my queens, we're gonna have a conversation. So don't bring your sensitivity over there. It's gonna be a great conversation, very empowering, encouraging, but also we gotta filter through some of the details and get things right. So today's topic is going to be we spent this whole year getting ready, right? Now that we have gotten ready, I think we are at this point where we need to get set. Everybody good with that? So I'm going to spend today having a conversation about getting set. A lot of us mentally, emotionally, psychologically, we feel as though we're ready. The question is, just like if you are running in a relay race or any kind of race, the official would say, on your mark, get set, get ready, or get ready, get set, go. On your mark, get ready, get set, go. So we're going to dive into that conversation about getting set, right? Why is it so important to get set? Because a lot of us don't go because even though we may feel like in our heart and our mind that we're ready, a lot of us skip getting set. And if you skip getting set, then you may go before you're set. So let's talk about getting set and figure out how we can get set so that we're ready to go, right? Mentally, psychologically, physiologically, a lot of us believe that we're ready. Ready for what, Rich? I'll tell you what. That thing that's eating you, that's inside of you, 90% of us that are here know that we can do better. We know that we have goals, aspirations, and dreams, and we've been speaking about that for the whole entire year. But we're going to go a little bit, I'm a guy of action, right? So we're going to go a little bit further than just having this conversation. Motivation means absolutely nothing without action. So today, I want us to take action. Today, let's focus on getting set. Getting set. And if you already in that position where you've already hit the go button and you started going, that's fine. But if you found out that somewhere along the line that you hit the go button or you started going and didn't feel like you had your wits ends about you, maybe you didn't take the time to get set. So that's what this conversation is about today. On your mark, get ready. Now we're getting set so that we can go. Can anybody relate to this conversation that we're about to have? Anybody in the on your mark place? Anybody getting ready? Anybody at a place of getting set? I don't know. But if we already have hit the go, then we would already be gone. So I'm going to make the assumption that most of us here are in the stages of preparing to go. Right? So I'm going to have a dialogue with each and every one of you, and I'm speaking to each and every one of you that are listening. Let's not waste any more time on our mark. Let's not waste any more time getting ready. Right now, we should be at a place where we're getting set. We're set. Let's get set. What does set mean? Is the preparation of whatever it is that's required so that when you go, just like taking a flight, taking a trip, you're already packed and ready to go. Set. Let's get set. Quiet on the set. Ready on the set. That means that whatever is in us is percolating and it's ready to go. Can anybody relate? We're ready to go. Let's get set. All right. So that's what this conversation is about. All right. So how you doing, Dorothy and Rosie? Welcome in, and everybody else get on in here. And I'm building up to my repositioning of your crowns seminar for my queens, and this is good for kings too as well. You know, women spend most of the time inside their heads. And how it starts off is most often you talk to yourself and then you drum up a whole lot of information that may or may not be accurate, but it's based on feelings and emotions. So because of that, sometimes we just spiral out of control inside of our head. We talk ourselves into things, out of things, away from things, good, bad, or indifferent. We spend a lot of time in the laboratory of our head, inside of our head. And I'm going to leave you with this, and hopefully this sticks. Something that you're going to learn in the seminar that I'm putting on the 17th, repositioning your crown. I'm really going to harp on this message. Let it go through your head before it reach your heart. Okay? You might want to write that down. Let it go through your head before it get to your heart. And a lot of mistakes that we make, kings and queens, is that it goes straight to the heart. And then we make emotional decisions because it didn't go through our head. So we're going to start using our head more and letting it go through the triage. Let it go through the chain of command. Let's keep our head straight. Let's let it go through our head before it gets to our heart. Can anybody relate? Thank you, Mary. Thank you for the gift. Can anybody relate? So, being that we are human beings that are by nature emotional creatures, and this is why this conversation is so important. By human nature, we're emotional creatures. Majority of the decisions that we're making day to day is based on our emotions. Majority of the decisions that we're making in today's society is going to be mostly derived from our emotions, our feelings, and spending so much time inside of our heads. This prevents us from getting set. We stay on our mark. We say we're getting ready. We spend so much time in the laboratory. But a lot of times we spend so much time in our head, which is a cool thing because when you're in your head, you're processing things. But a lot of times we're processing things too long. And the things we should be processing, like some of these bad relationships, some of these mistakes that we're making, some of these decisions that we're making, we're not letting it go through our head. It's going straight to our heart. And if you're single, it's really easy to get straight to your heart. If you're widowed, it's really easy to get straight to your heart. And And when I say get straight to your heart, it means that you feel more than what you probably are processing. And that's what I'm really, really going to harp on a lot, on how we process the information. Let it go via the chain of command in the order that God created you. Your head is higher than your heart. And the reason why your head is above your heart is because God intended for us to process first through our head before it gets to our heart. And some of us have reverse engineered the process of what we were intended to do as human beings. I'm going to get deep. Can anybody relate? I'm going to get deep. Y'all stand by. It's coming. So I'm not going to go biblical. I'm not a Bible verse guy who's going to throw these Bible verses at you, because I'm not that well versed myself. I'm still learning. But one thing I'll make note of is that if you are a believer or a Christian, you know that Adam was created first. I'm going to stay right there. Adam and Eve were created first according to the Bible teaching. Adam was here first. And then Eve came along. What are you talking about, Richard? That I believe that they were both given everything that they needed to be successful in life. Somehow or another in our world, in current society, we believe that we need someone else to complete us. We believe that we need someone else for fulfillment. We believe that we need someone else to have self-love, to have self-joy. Well, I believe that according to my understanding that one person was put on this earth first and had all the tools and instruments to be successful in life. And then there was someone else placed to procreate, not necessarily to rely on, not necessarily to depend on. What does that mean? That means that holistically, there were two individuals that were holistically complete individuals. But then as we begin to grow through life, we become so codependent on fulfillment from something or someone else we rely so much on when we have what we need inside of us. But because we don't go through the process of letting things go through our head before it gets to our heart, we make decisions that are emotional because we're making them from the heart, not necessarily processing them through the head. Hey, Lady CK. Hey, CK, how you doing? Hi, Ann. So, am I making sense to you? And I'm not saying that you feel that you need anyone. I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, but if it applies to you, apply it to you. If it does not, take what you may receive from it. And the rest, you can pass it along. But I'm basically saying, and for those who say that they don't need anyone, we all at some point need someone. But I'm speaking in the frame of for self-fulfillment, self-care, self-love, self-awareness, just being purposeful in our life, in the way that we live our life, and not being so codependent. And this is not about relationship. This is about life. A lot of us believe that we need things. We need money. Money is a great attribute. It is the most important, one of the most important things, but it's not the most important thing. It means absolutely nothing if you don't love yourself, if you don't have your health, if you don't have a community if you don't have the things that are really, really important. Money is not everything. But I believe in order to live a fulfilled life, you have to set yourself up to be successful. And this is why we're talking about, now that you have lived a life, most of the listeners here are going to be mature. And a lot of us spend most of our lives in the getting ready stage, not necessarily being set. Being set means that you're prepared to go at any moment. You're prepared to be blessed by anything at any given moment. You don't have to get ready because you're already ready. So stay set. And if you've gone and if you're in the go mode, then that's fine. But just make sure that you're set before you go. Being set, basically, metaphorically speaking, is being prepared for what you expect to happen. And most often, when you begin to prepare for something, rather you have faith or belief that it's actually going to happen, the fact that you're prepared, it's more likely to work out in your favor if you're prepared. I'm talking to somebody. So if you're in the laboratory of your life, meaning that you think too much, you overprocess, you're always in your head, you're not letting life or things go through your chain of command. Your chain of command is your head first, then your heart. The two most important things is going to be your brain and your heart. And we need them both. So getting, not overanalyzing things, but getting in the mind frame of processing things, and ask yourself, I'm going to give you some key things that you could take away with you, right? But please sign up for repositioning of your crown, queen, on the 17th. So here's one of the keys that you can take away with you. Start talking to yourself internally. Ask yourself, and this is going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you a lot of money. Every time before you make a decision, ask yourself this one thing. Am I making an emotional decision, or am I making the wise decision? Based on the information that you have, ask yourself these two things. Am I making an emotional decision, or am I making a wise decision? And most often you'll find that just in that quick second, if you ask yourself, am I making an emotional decision? Most often the answer is going to be yes. And the reason being is, a lot of times you need time to process whatever it is that you're going to decide to do. And I think the two biggest mistakes that we make is that we don't take enough time to process, or sometimes we process too long and we're stuck in our head for too long. Okay? Can y'all relate to what I'm saying? Good evening. So, hey, let's have a dialogue. Let's talk back. How you doing, Eberhardt family? How you doing, Miss Rogers? So a lot of us spend a lot of our lives in the ready phase and on our marks, and we're ready, right? We're ready. But do we ever really get set to go? Do we really ever go? You know, some of us are in our 50s and our 60s are talking about what we're going to do, because we really haven't gotten to a point where we're set to go. We're in the ready phase. What causes us to stay in the ready phase sometimes? Fear. Fear. Fear is crippling, and we know that it's crippling. And even though we know that's something that we were not born with, we manage to manifest that. Imagine what you can do with your life if you can reverse engineer fear. See, because we manifest fear, right? What if you can manifest what you really want? What if you can manifest better health? What if you can manifest losing the weight that you desire to lose? What if you can manifest the true beauty without the alterations? What if you can manifest that? What's crazy is how good we are at manifesting fear, manifesting negativity, manifesting hate, speaking words that do not encourage. Like a lot of times we beat ourselves up internally with words and things that we say to ourselves so much that we begin to walk in that way. How cool would it be if we can reverse engineer how we manifest and what we manifest? If you can speak to it negative and it makes you feel bad, then that same energy could be spoken into positively to make you feel good. You're right. How you doing, Betty? Hey, classy, not trashy. So, listen, ask me questions. Vera say yes. So, y'all getting this? But always ask yourself, for every decision that you make, ask yourself, am I making an emotional decision? And that will really help you clear things up. So if you're thinking about your relationship, if you're thinking about how you're spending your money, how you're spending your time, if you need to end a relationship or begin a relationship or quit a job or get another job or grow and do better on the one that you have, or be more financially responsible or be more healthy, ask yourself that the choice that you're making, is it in my best interest, or is it an emotional decision that I'm making? The word feel could be a dangerous word. The word feel. I don't feel like it. I feel what you feel. The moment someone says feel, everything after that is based on that. Let me give you a moment to process that. When you hear someone, I feel, when you hear someone say they feel, then everything said or done after that is based on just that, a feeling. Now, how many of you guys are moving in your feelings? How many of us are living life based on our feelings? Our feelings of fear, our feelings of distrust, our feelings of hurt. How many of us are moving based on feelings? Not wise decisions, not intelligence, but feelings, emotions. Why is this important? Because it keeps us from being set. It takes us out of the set arena. It takes us out of the go area and puts us back on the mark. Runners, take your mark. Get ready. And we stay, a lot of the times we stay on our mark and ready. And a lot of us shamefully are still on our mark. So confidence is everything. We're going to speak about that in depth on confidence. Confidence in, if you put, thanks Betty, if you put the self before the confidence and just deal with the self part. Self means ownership. Self is possessive. Self is you. So anything after that, you own. Okay? Self-confidence. If you stop at the self, that means you own it. So self-confidence, if you own self, then everything after that is your responsibility. Self-confidence. So self-confidence. Self owns. Confidence is. So you're in control. You're right, Vera. You cannot be productive in your emotions. This is true. This is why arguments don't really turn out well, because they're most often emotional. Arguments are most often feelings. A wise man once said that when people are loud and yelling at each other and they're really close in proximity, they're yelling because their hearts are so far apart. So they feel the need to communicate louder because they're really not feeling each other. I thought that was a deep one. So ask me your questions. Let me help you out. Coach Rich is going to be real raw with you. Hey, I'm a strategist, life coach. I'm going to keep it raw. Mocha Black, how are you, Queen? I'm not emotionally fueled person. I can relate to the crippling fear of the unknown. Oh, that is so deep. I'm going to read that again. She's not an emotional fueled person, but she can relate to the crippling fear of the unknown. That is good. So if you're not emotionally, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to drop game on you right now, Mocha Black and everybody else. If you are emotionally intelligent, people will get you wrong and you'll be misunderstood often. People will probably be fearful of you, intimidated by you, or think that you're all of that. Once you become emotionally intelligent, and this is not saying that anyone is listening is not emotionally intelligent. Once you become emotionally intelligent, people think that you're weird. That's normal. Why? Because most of the world is predicated on feelings and emotions. Even when the right thing to do is unpopular, decisions typically are made based on popular beliefs and emotions. And this is how we end up with a corrupt society. This is how we end up with leaders of our nation to be able to not be truthful, but holding accountable is an emotional thing, and it just doesn't feel good to say that these people are doing these things. So what do you mean by that, Rich? Okay, let me dive a little deeper. The world has gotten to a place that is making decisions based on the way people feel as opposed of what's the right thing to do. And this is how we end up with so many laws. This is how we end up with so many different legislations. This is how we end up with me being a retired law enforcement officer, right? This is how we end up with the need for police reform, because a lot of things and decisions are made based off feelings, based off emotion. So if you're emotionally intelligent, those people tend to be more straightforward and give you their opinion or their answer based on their facts, not their feelings. But the world has gotten so warped to people are more inclined to listen to what feels good than what's right. Can I get an amen? Hey, Colette. How you doing, Ms. Davison? Mocha Black said, agreed. Because of this, I've been referred to as mannish. Mannish. Telling your age, that word mannish. Listen, and she's absolutely right. Once you become emotionally intelligent, you will be called a name. But the truth of the matter is, emotional intelligent people tend to be more raw and less political, for lack of better words. Emotional intelligent people tend to be fact, F-A-C-T, driven, not emotionally driven. Right? So if you're emotional, emotionally intelligent, your friend circle is probably going to be very small. I'm just calling it what it is. I am very emotionally intelligent. What does that mean? That means that it's very hard for people to hear me speak because I'm so raw. I'm so unfiltered that you may consider me weird or harsh, but the truth of the matter is, if the rest of the world was emotionally intelligent and moved off the facts and not feelings, then the world would be a much better place. But because we move on feelings, we kind of swayed in the wrong direction. So we're starting to reward attendance. We're starting to reward participation. See, if you're making right decisions, you reward excellence or above and beyond. So to all my school teachers or anybody that know about the education system, y'all can relate to what I'm saying. Children now are being rewarded for showing up. Because if they do not receive an award or an acknowledgement, they don't feel good. So we have now gotten ourselves in positions in this world where we want everyone to feel good. And when everyone feels good, at some point, everyone will begin to feel bad. This is like everybody being inebriated at a party. Everybody drunk. There's no designated drivers. And we're all driving drunk. So the balance is, the reality is being raw. Like we all can't feel good. Somebody's got to keep the truth. Somebody got to keep the main thing so somebody can get everybody else home safe. I'm talking to somebody. So how did I get on this point about feelings? Because I think that, like I say, leading up to the 17th, the repositioning of your crown, it's just the dynamic of rethinking how you see things, rethinking how you see the world. And when I spoke about the Adam from the Bible being first, the idea behind it was that you can be really self-sustaining and happy. And most of us are looking, a lot of us look for something in relationships. We look for that person to supply something that we feel like we're missing. What you lack, you can provide what you lack. Understand the difference between a want and a need. Figure out what your needs are and take care of them so that it's no one else's responsibility. This is the part of getting set that I want us to do. Okay? Understanding where you're lacking. Understanding where your pain come from. Understanding where your hurt and all that stuff come from. Because the real happiness is when you eradicate all the trash, all the stuff that you should be purging. And when you able to put all that stuff down, let me tell you something, man. Get ready, because you already on your mark. Get ready, get set, so that you can go. A lot of us can't go because we're weighed down by so much old stuff. In the 90s, we holding on to stuff. In 2000, this happened. 6 years ago, 5 years ago, this happened. You still living in it, and now you're holding everybody accountable for your triggers. And these triggers are something that you probably created because you refuse to let some things go and some people go. So think about that. So it's hard to get set and be prepared to go because you're still on that mark. So let's get off our marks. Start looking at yourself internally. What does that mean? We talk about, and I'm going to speak about that on the 17th at the seminar, is understanding how you're wired. Understanding how to master yourself. So it's hard for you to get out of life what you want in someone else or something else and be self-sustaining and self-fulfilled if you don't even know what you want. I was speaking the other day about some people just don't know who they are. So what does that mean? No insult to anyone. If you met someone at a mixer or networking event, once you shake their hand, who do you say that you are? Some people say, well, I'm a mother. I'm just the lady that, and then it requires a long explanation. So when you find yourself in positions where you have to explain who you are, that means that you probably are not really sure. So know how to distinguish who you are in a very short conversation. You know, people determine that we were speaking about communication the other day, and this is so big, especially with women. Women listen different than men, but we can change that. Does it mean it's bad? No, women are more detail oriented in the way that they see things. That is a great thing. The downside to it is sometimes very analytical and over analytical, right? Now, check this out. If only 33% of what is said is being received, out of 100%, only 33% of what is said is being received, then that means once you add distractors, cell phones, and checking your social media in the midst of the conversation, then that means you're only walking away with about 15% of what was communicated. Why is that important? Because if you're only retaining 15%, how much of that reply or response is going to be predicated from your emotions and your feelings, not facts of what was communicated? So effective communicating is very important. This is part of being set, understanding how to communicate. Why am I saying this? Because in my coaching and my teachings, I've realized that women communicate most emotionally. Women communicate mostly emotionally. And what does that mean? That means that the conversation easily turns into an argument because the reply is not based on facts a lot of the times. It's based on feelings. So where a man may be dealing with facts, a woman may be dealing with how it made her feel. And that's in the professional climate. That's in the personal climate. In any climate. It's kind of like if you're a woman and let's say you have a love handle, for lack of better words. The reality is, let's go back to feelings. Let's go back to emotional intelligence. If you have a love handle and you ask someone about this, how does this make me look? The reality is you want the emotional response. You want the politically correct response. And typically, in the world that we live, this is what you'll get. But does this really help you? No. No. So, being able to communicate effectively and being able to hear effectively, but hear with your head before you hear with your heart. And this is why we were speaking earlier about the chain of command. God put your head at the top because we have to use what's in it first. So if we process it through the chain of command through the head before it gets to the heart, it may never make it to the heart if we process it correctly. How you doing, B-Hut? Is this making sense to y'all? Come on, talk to me. Let's have a two-way conversation. So, you know, we get some things mixed up, and I'm gonna try to clear it up a little bit. So don't get upset with me. Eyes are for seeing. not vision. You can have a vision without sight. Ears are for hearing, but do you know how to listen? Yeah, I need to write that down. A lot of us are not good listeners. Some of our queens listen to defend, listen to respond, because what we're hearing is emotionally being heard. So most often queens listen to defend, to respond, not necessarily to learn what's being said. This doesn't have anything to do with intelligence or smartness. This is just how it is. I'm just calling it how I see it. Like I say, I can't certify anything else, but I'm just saying that from my experience, what I learned is that most women listen emotionally. I'm going to do an assignment. I'm going to do an experiment, and it's going to blow your mind on the 17th. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to be very, very, very dynamic. The experiment I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it on every 1 out of 10 on the 17th. It's a free. Sign up for it. It's September 17th, 7 o'clock, from 7 to 9. We're going to just really explore and have a deep conversation about how we can reposition our crown. But I'm going to prove some of these things that I'm saying to be true. I'm going to prove them live in the seminar. I'm going to prove it. But I know for a fact most women listen emotionally. And it's okay because it's a wiring system. And men communicate a lot of times too masculine. And we're over masculine sometimes. And sometimes women emasculate men. And this is what creates boss woman, boss girl, boss. I have no problem with that, as long as it's not emasculating to a man. So I think if we can get the communication part down right, on how we communicate and how to have an effective communication, if you can just clear your mind to receive, just receive data, turn into a computer and let who's ever communicating to you data dump and you data receive. Just receive the data. Receive it without feelings. Receive it without emotion. Strip everything from a conversation and just take the raw data. And that way your reply and your response will be based on, remember what we said. Ask yourself, are you replying or responding emotionally or wise? Hopefully I'm helping somebody. Rosie says it's going to be it's going to be a learning process. It is. It is. But here's the thing though. You only have to learn it once. Good evening to you, Veronica, Silver Fox, and everybody else that's on the radio station. How you doing, Miss Evelyn? Yeah, so it's going to be a learning curve, but that's why I'm going to give you some material to take with you. And listen, we're far from perfect. Men are far from perfect. Like, I'm on the 17th, I'm going to apologize because I think that men owe women an apology. I think we owe women an apology, and I'm going to apologize on the behalf of not all men, but the men that just didn't know or a lot of it comes from upbringing. I'm a little bit more sensitive. I was raised with women, beautiful mom, beautiful queen, nothing but sisters. So I have a little bit more passion for women and understanding. But I also understand how they're wired. And I know that if you don't understand the emotional part of how a queen is wired, then effective communication is going to be grim. It's going to be hard. Because by DNA, feelings are always first. By DNA, feelings are first. So I'm going to try to reverse engineer. I'm going to try to reverse engineer and stop putting feelings first and just start receiving data and start dealing with the facts. Start dealing with the facts. And also, one of the things that I want us to start thinking about, queens, is understanding that most things are not your fault, but you put them in your bag and you carry them. That's your fault. There's help. There's opportunity for growth, development, intervention. There's resources. It's free. In some cases, there's insurance that cover it. There's people that we can speak to. But it's not your fault that it occurred. It's your fault that you put it in the bag. You bagged it. And now you're carrying it. And it becomes ultimately someone else's responsibility to continue to carry your luggage. So we're going to dive into that, on how we deal with ourselves as individuals so that we can be prepared for whatever it is that we want out of life. See, the moral of the story is when you become a whole person, you take accountability of you. When you put your luggage down, when you take accountability for your health, your appearance, when you take accountability for you and start looking at yourself, then holistically you begin to heal. Therefore, you don't have to search, you'll attract. Brokenness and broken people attract the same community. So if you find yourself constantly saying, why do I keep attracting these things to my life? Why do I keep attracting people that take advantage? Why do I keep attracting? I'm one of those people as well, right? I keep attracting things over and over again. Why do you keep attracting the same things? Because I'm doing the same thing. I'm in the same community. You want to level up, that's going to cost you some compromise. You want a better situation, you want a better circumstance, it's going to cost you something. And it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. So if you, for example, if you're single and you go into the church or the grocery store, and you're doing everything and saying to yourself, there's no good man out there, are you in a good place? Going to the nightclub, going to the happy hour. What's your demographics? So we're going to delve into that, about the accountability of understanding that we attract we really do attract what we put out there in the universe. Like we were speaking about makeup, eye wigs, hair, the oversaturation of what's this called? Mascara. Just overdoing it. And then when you do too much, you attract someone that expects you to do too much. And then when you want to dial it down or turn it down, you don't want to take accountability that you built this situation. You own it. Self is so important. So walk away with that today. Self is a very powerful prelude to accountability. And accountability is the prelude to success and happiness, right? Self. Be self-reliant. Be self-sufficient. Be self-sustaining. Have self-esteem. Look at yourself. Self is the prefix that alludes to ownership. If you're not happy with your weight, if you're not happy with your appearance, if you're not happy with where you are in your life, look at self. Look at self. So, what I want us to take away is, one is, before you begin to speak, and I'm just dropping a whole lot of gems, but it's going to be so in depth, and I'm going to give you so much information. It's going to be information overload on the 17th. So make sure if you haven't registered, make sure you register. But the one thing I want to take away from this conversation is start getting set. Set yourself up for success. Set yourself up for that next relationship. Set yourself up for that financial breakthrough. Everything starts well from being set. But before we communicate moving forward, take this away with you today. Never speak back right away. If you have a business, if you're a small business owner, large business owner, if someone's borrowing money, if you need something, or whatever the case is, or someone's communicating with you, someone's getting on your last nerve, whatever the case is, ask yourself before you reply and respond, am I doing this emotionally, or am I being intelligent? Is this response or reply, is it based on my feelings and emotions, or is it based on facts and intelligence? That's the one thing I want you to take away with you. Always ask yourself, am I responding emotionally? And then the other thing is, the key word for today is going to be self. See, if you look at things that have occurred to you and people that have done things to you, if you have someone to blame, that's plus one. That means you have to carry that one person with you. But if you look at yourself and say, self, how do we not allow this to happen? Self, how did I get myself into this position? Self, what do we do better? Self, that means that you're only carrying you and the responsibility of doing it different or better. Self, start looking at yourself. You keep attracting the wrong people, the wrong things, the wrong energy. It's time to look at oneself. Why am I attracting this? Why am I in this situation? Why am I in this circumstance? Why does this keep happening? Self. Why can't I get this weight off? Self, self, I, self. Self is a very empowering word, because when you begin to look inward, you begin to find all the answers and all the clues and all the resolutions are typically inside oneself. So do me a favor, put self in the chat if y'all feeling this conversation. SELF. Self. Self is a powerful word. It means that you have control. Think before you speak. That's right, Sharon. Joanne, thank you so much. Thanks for putting the selves in there. Rosie Self, Mocha Black, and that's right, put self. Be self-reliant. Put yourself in positions to be successful. Build your self-esteem. Be self-reliant, self-fulfilled. If someone is responsible for anything outside of you being responsible for self, that's when it begins to weaken for you. That's when someone else can disappoint you. When you become responsible for self, you become so self-empowered. This doesn't mean that you don't need a companion. This doesn't mean that you can't have happiness with someone else or companionship or, collaborate. I'm just saying a successful situation is when you are 100% and you collide with another 100%. You're not going to be perfect. Let's start with the half and half. Let's start with the 50%. A true partnership, a true relationship, a true venture is when you are self-sufficient. Period. This is why when you go out to restaurants and there's a party of 15, this is why you always end up paying more than what you feel like you should. Because ultimately you become responsible for someone else that's not being responsible for self. You ever been to a restaurant with a group of people in a party and you order something simple like just some fries and a drink, and they split the bill up 12, 14 ways, and you pay $50 for your French fries and one drink? It's because someone in that group wasn't self-sufficient. And when you're not self-sufficient, you may not feel the slack, but somebody else is carrying the deficiency, and it may not be fair. Happiness, it's on you. Be self-reliant. And say in the first place, she's not letting that happen. How you doing, Juanita? That's right. So listen, I'm gonna take a few seconds to take a few questions. If you want to speak about the course and what it's about, the seminar, it's and why did I come up with it? Because in my teachings and speaking to queens, I think there's been a lot of dysfunctional thinking, not like bad, but just I think the mindset has been shaped around someone else being responsible for someone else. So I want to kind of do some Jedi mind tricks and see if we can change the way that we think. We can change the way that we process. Like simple things like the chain of command. The head is on top of the body, right? So let's let the information, let's listen. There's a difference between hearing. Did you know that hearing, I'm going to mess you up now. Hearing is involuntary. Did you know that once your eyes are open, seeing is involuntary? Process that. Hearing is involuntary. Once your eyes are open and you could see, seeing is involuntary. Your heart, if it's beating, even with the pacemaker, it's involuntary. Your lungs are inflating and deflating involuntarily. The body is made this way for a reason. Let's think about it different. If hearing is involuntary, then you must choose to listen to what you're hearing. Listening is a choice. Hearing is involuntary. You get to choose what you listen to, but hearing is not a choice. Vision, let's talk about our eyesight. If you could see, you cannot unsee. Seeing is involuntary. But the vision is your choice. Mocha Black said, not synonymous with listening, though. Amen. Yes. So what I'm saying is, the way that we're wired, there are a lot of things that are involuntary. What we hear, we don't have a choice. What we see when we open our eyes, you can't unsee stuff. The way your heart beat, the way your liver work, the way that your organs work, it's all involuntary. That means that you are the captain. You are the major. You're the sergeant major. You're the president of you. And if you're the president of you, be a boss and make sure that everything goes through the chain of command. And the chain of command starts up here in your head. And no matter what circumstances bring you, I don't care if it's from your sister, your brother, your uncle, your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband, I don't care where it comes from. Make sure they go through the chain of command. Why? Because you need it to go through the head before it gets to the heart. A lot of us are walking around here today with broken hearts, and it never made it through the head. So let's get our heads right. Because if our head's not right, the crown can't sit on it correctly. Okay? So this is why we need to reposition our crown. I'm willing to bet. How you doing, Anita? I'm willing to bet that a lot of us, our virtual crowns have been tilted or knocked off by something or someone or some situation that occurred in our life. And just because your crown has been tilted by a bad relationship, by divorce, by loss of a loved one, by losing a job, by, having a diagnosis or illness, life will happen and your crown will fall. It will fall off, all the way off. Sometimes it would tilt. This is what life is all about. But you're still a king. You're still a queen. Let's reposition that thing. But the cool thing about it, if you've ever worn a crown or tiara, there's a cheat way. And that's what we're going to talk about on 17. How you cheat. We put some bobby pins in that thing to make sure it stays in position. And that's what I really want us to do, is start making sure that we stay in the right position. And we do that with the powerful word of self-reliant. Get to a point where you don't need an alarm clock. Get to the point where you don't need things, that you program yourself, that you become self-reliant, that you don't need people. You become self-reliant. And this makes life so much more enjoyable, because whatever happens outside of you being self-fulfilled is now a bonus. This is the whipped cream to life. I'm preaching to somebody. I'm talking to somebody. Pin it down. But you do this on your own. You do it on yourself. You do it to yourself. Take care of yourself. Self-care. Ask me a question. Let me answer before I hop off. Self-care. Hey, listen, we're going to talk about that too. Self-care. Why is self-care so important? A lot of people think self-care is a vacation. Wrong. A lot of people think self-care is a spa day. Not necessarily. A lot of people think self-care is rewarding yourself. No, not altogether. Self-care could be something as simple as caring about you more in that particular moment than the other person. Putting you first. Not being selfish, but caring for yourself first. If you have negative friends, or you have people in your life that have so much drama going on, and they're constantly calling you to put out these flames, and your house is not in order, and you haven't swept around your own front door, my friend, this is not self-care. This is carelessness. If you're trying to fix someone else's solution and you haven't found one for yours, this is carelessness. This is not self-care. If you're being more intentional with the time you give others and not intentional on the time you give yourself, this is not self-care. This is carelessness. Okay, so I know, Mom, I gotta put my kids first. I gotta put my husband. I gotta put this first. I gotta put, and we've been taught this for so long. Put everything above ourselves, and then we burn out, and then end up in the hospital. And you're getting text messages asking how you doing, and when you've dedicated yourself. And now people don't have time for you because you've burned yourself out for them, and they forgot where they come from. Think about it. We're all going to be elderly people at some point. This is why it's important to take care of yourself. Because whatever it is that you're donating that time and energy to may not be promised to give it back to you. Some of y'all are parents that have kids that are becoming adults, or they're already adults, and they're forgetting to check on you. But you gave self to them, so much so that self doesn't have a lot left, and they've now forgotten about you, begin to live their life and move on. And now you done burned yourself out and nothing left, and they forget to check on you. Take care of yourself. It's only one you. I'm sorry. That's the way the world is. It's only one you. Self-care is not always fun, but it's necessary. Put you first. You can handle it. They can handle it. I can wait. Be self-reliant. Work on self-care. So like I said earlier, let me see if there's any questions here. Extra questions now. But hey, if you haven't registered or signed up to the repositioning of your crown, especially my queens. Listen, this is going to be a great dynamic conversation. It's going to be very, very dynamic and deep. And your feelings, don't bring your feelings, because we're going to be talking facts. Don't bring your feelings. Don't come here with your feelings and your emotions. I'm just spitting game, right? And we're going to talk about some stuff from appearance, finances, to relationships, attitudes, communication. Like, we're going to dive into a whole lot of that. Past trauma undealt with. We're going to deal with all that stuff. We're going to deal with all that. Let me see. Any questions? Yeah, so, yeah. Make sure you subscribe. Okay, if you already signed up, that's fine. If you get emails, just ignore it if you already signed up. But I will be sending out more emails, and it's something that was put on my heart, because I know my queens. You know, I need to apologize, because I know I did a lot, and I didn't know any better. But I didn't do as much as most men. I didn't make as many mistakes as most men. I got it right, because probably I was raised by so many women and my beautiful mom. But listen, we got an opportunity to get it right. I don't care what season you're in your life. It's indicative for us to start really looking at this thing called life for what it is and what it's worth. Thank you so much, Mocha Black. I appreciate it. So just be very conscious of how you communicate. Be conscious of self. And remember that self is a powerful word. If you say these two things, it will change you right away. Not all of you, but you'll feel better if you follow the chain of command. Let it hit your head before it get to your heart. Let it hit your head before it reach your heart. Before you speak, ask yourself, am I being emotional, or am I being intelligent? Have I received this information accurately, or did I listen to respond? So ask yourself, am I being emotional in my response? And the minute you do that, it's going to change the way you think. And then the next thing I want you to take with you is the word self. Let's give that so much power. Let's get the power back in self. He's not responsible. She's not responsible. They are not responsible. Self-reliance, self-care, self-esteem. Okay? Self-happiness, self-fulfillment, self, you. The word self means ownership. The true boss is the one that understands that they're in charge of self. Okay, so hey, listen, hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation, man. I'm going to say goodnight, get to finishing my wine. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation, and hopefully you agree with most of what I said. If not, take what you can and keep it. And for the rest of the stuff, you don't need, you can toss it. This is just my opinion. Make sure you follow me before I hop off. I'm not going to be doing the every Tuesday thing. This is why I really need you guys to subscribe, because I'm not going to always be on TikTok. I have my own radio station over here to man, and it's a lot. So I'm not going to be constantly on TikTok on Tuesdays and Saturdays. But if you subscribe to the station, you'll get more of me. And it's more personal and more intuitive and more engaging. So I'm asking you to subscribe, because I'm not going to be constantly coming back on here on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I have a very busy schedule. But one of the things I really love to do is give back. And you'll find that majority of the stuff that I give is going to be absolutely free. because God gave it to me. So I'm going to give it to you. Not all things will be free, but when I can, I'm going to give you what I have, and hopefully it change your life. So don't panic if you don't see me here Tuesday or especially this Saturday. I have a whole lot of stuff that I got working on in the background. But make sure you're following the MSC Network, Lady CK, Dr. Tammy, Dr. Sherman. All the greats are right here at the station, and you can get more of a one-on-one engagement. In this conversation that we're having, I can have so much more with you via the network than being on TikTok, because that keep all the scrolling and what do you call those people, the trolls, and they keep all that stuff away. Because I want to talk to people that really want to make a difference in their life, and I think I can be more impactful on this platform because it's built and intended to be effective, not necessarily just fun. So on Saturday we have a crowd, hundreds of people. On Tuesdays we just have a handful of people. So what I really care about is the handful of people that I think I can help get to the next level, and that's what this whole MSC Network is about. So please find your way into the website and join me. Send me an email, connect with me, subscribe, so you'll know all the stuff that we're doing. And we do a lot of great stuff, but not on TikTok, not on social media, not on Facebook. We do a lot of good free stuff you want to be a part of. All right, so make sure you are following us, man. This is an African American owned media network group with some wonderful people. Shout out to all the staff and everybody that supports the organization. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But hey, listen, you ready for the next level? You've already gotten on your mark. You're already ready. Let's get set so we can go. So when 2025 come, you already in the wind. And that's what we're getting ready for, because we're going to need more of you, and you're going to need to be more self-reliant, self-dependent, and more strong for the type of world that we're facing in tomorrow's society. All right, so let's get ready. Let's get out of our way, get out of our heads. Let's get busy, all right? That's right. Thank you, Be Blessed. She said MSC Network is where it is. If you have not been to the media station MSC Network, please go by. There are some powerful things going on, all right? Know that Rich Live love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Please make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Moderators, put that up. The YouTube channel, the name of the course, how to get connected. I want you to follow me. This is a great thing we have. We're in every state in the United States of America. We're in every state, and we're in 27 countries outside of the United States. And we've had over 400 and something thousand streams. So we're doing really good. So continue to support us. I make sure I find time to give these messages to you. I make sure I carve time out my schedule to make sure that I be a blessing. Please share it with somebody, and know that we're changing the way we're going to do things in society. All about positivity and growth, all right? So, love you guys. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Hang around, man. Let's listen to this song before we get off, all right? Have a good rest of your week, all right? Make sure you tune in to Lady CK tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. That's another thing. Lady CK is a bad, phenomenal radio personality. She's a bad mama jamma out of Miami, Florida. She'll be on at 8 o'clock, not on TikTok, at the MSC Network. Man, the chick be throwing down. You're doing your thing. So make sure you come and see what's going on at the network, and then join Dr. Sherman Thursday at 8 o'clock as well. Love you. You have a great rest of your night, all right? Thank you, moderators. Love everybody. Peace. Make sure you register, all right?
Okay. I'm about to have a good day. No matter what they say. The sun is shining down on me. Birds are singing praise. I'm about to have a good day. In every single way. God so it's a good day. Baby in my arms, walking through the neighborhood, living in the present, not what I shoulda or could. I remember back when I was low as a rug. Now I'm standing up, look at what my father does, turning all things new, gray skies blue. Hear the church say, won't he do it? I know he's got my back, that's why I'm singing that. I'm about to have a good day, no matter what they say. Sun is shining down on me, birds are singing praise. I'm about to have a good day, in every single way. The God who made the universe knows me by my name, so it's a good day. It's a good day, no, it's great. Everything I prayed for didn't come in late. I got all I need and I didn't have to wait. Ask me if you love me, you didn't hesitate. Turning all things to gray skies blue. Hear the church saying, won't he do it? I know he's got my back, that's why I'm singing that. I'm about to have a good day, no matter what they say. Sun is shining down on me, birds are singing praise. I'm about to have a good day, in every single way. God who made the universe knows me by my name, so it's a good day. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. It's a good day. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. It's a good day. It's a good